Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. So, we'll be shortly entering a very beautiful, a very beautiful green tunnel. Just hold on, hold on. Just see, you will have a beautiful view. The French elections, very important French election. You just see the green tunnel. The French elections, very important. Macron versus Pen. We were just trying to understand and decipher and dissect the personality of this Macron, who has suddenly come in the scene through his unconventional love story. Let me just give you a very brief background why we are talking about this Macron again and again and trying to understand his personality. You just see that Trump the other day, 75, 4 years age, his third wife, 40 years age, a Solvang, and came suddenly in the scene in USA, and then you just see he is an extreme rightist. He wants sports Brexit. He sports. Just let us pass. I was just passing these people, So he sports Brexit. He sports isolation. He sports going away from the European Union, and he wants Muslims out from America, and at the same time he wants to build a 1,000 kilometers wall to protect America, USA. And we were thinking that still he may be good, but then he was saying that Ab ki baar Trump Sarkar. But just see the other day, he has gone hammer and tongs against for that matter, against India with the H-1B visa. Thousands and thousands of our children who used to get a very big pie out of the every year 85,000 visas available from USA. So that will be squeezed, there will be a problem, there will be a difficulty. And then you just see also the climate change, very important for the world. And suddenly this climate change also, he is not interested. He's just trying to do away with this climate change. And India has to have second thoughts. He's putting very difficult situations for India. So we know now Trump was expected to do something good, but then difficult choices, difficult situations. Now we are having this Macron versus Pen in the French elections. This boy, 39 years old, having married at 60, having his wife now 54 years age, Macron's wife, and having married just his love story began. His love story began when he was just 15 years old, and his wife Bridget was 26 years age in 1991. Three kids. His Macron's father and parents, very big doctors, told him that don't go about this your love story, unconventional, very difficult, funny love story with an old lady, and you just stay away from this Bridget. And he finally continued the relationship, and he married her when he was He was 29 years old, and she was 54 years in the year 2006. Remember that Bridget, his love life's middle daughter, was studying with this Macron. She was the classmate in one of the villages. And at the same time, that now in the French elections, suddenly he has come insane, this Macron, and he is now 39 years age, and his wife is 64 years age. And this, you just see, try to understand this, the philosophy and the mind of this Macron. You just see that why we are discussing about Macron, because France, is a very important country in the whole world. It is the second biggest, largest economy in Europe after Germany. But Germany, you just see that after World War II, they cannot have military. There are a lot of problems with Germany, and France can have this defense relations with India. It can have economic relations with India. It can have cultural relations with India. We are having Alliance Française, and then French is spoken in many countries all over the world. So if we have a very strong French and a nice French president, naturally it augurs well for the world and also India. So what I'm trying to tell you, when you are, what is his philosophy, his ideology? Penn says that I want to go away from Europe. She is an extremist. She is an extreme philosophy, and she wants isolation. She does not believe in inclusive and being with the European Union. And at the same time, he is a different man, Macron. He was an investment banker. He's a new person. This is first time his political game. And then this Macron, he believes in European Union. He doesn't want to be a Brexit type of thing like you are having in England, UK, and the complete UK is in doldrums now. You just see that this Macron, he wants to stay with the people. He wants to make them happy, and with all the people along, all class, creed, religion, and ideology. So he wants to stay with the European Union and continue with it. He is a centrist. He's not a leftist and he's not a rightist. He says that I will take the ideas, I will take the good things from the leftists and the rightists, but at the same time, I will not disturb, the demography and the continuity of the France. So he's going to stay with the European Union. So this is the point that he wants to sell in France. And that France, remember, it has more than 250 people have been killed in France recently. Let's just take around. More than 250 people have been killed in France during the last 1 or 2 years. So France is in a turmoil. It needs a very strong leader. It needs to be lifted, and France needs somebody, a divine hand and a divine thought, who can just take France along. So now suddenly this Macron, who is 39 years age and married to a 64 years lady, he is suddenly coming in the scene. So we know that he is a very strong-willed person. He is having very strong beliefs. He acts on his thoughts, acts on his determinations and his agendas. That's what exactly happened when his parents told him, look man, there is a huge difference between you and your would-be wife. So before going ahead with these uncharted waters, going ahead, you have to think that you will have no children. So because of the huge age difference, and he went ahead with this marriage, and he married this lady when she was with 3 kids, 54 years age, and he was just 29 years age. And this is the firm conviction and the firm resolve and the personality of this Macron. So what I'm trying to tell you that, ladies and gentlemen, and let's just see around beautifully. So this man who is going to come most probably in the scene, because he is having a very big lead with this, versus Le Pen. This Macron, let me just slightly have this running. So this Macron, ladies and gentlemen, he is now fighting the French elections, and what is the lesson that can be drawn? First of all, I want to just answer two questions. One is that what type of personality this Macron is, and second, that what type of personality this Macron is through his thoughts, through his ideology, and of course, through his unconventional and crazy love life. And at the same time, how can he just, what is his contribution? What could be his contribution for India, and what type of personality he can prove to be for the world, India? So that's and of course the French people, can he lit up their faces with smiles? So ladies and gentlemen, you just see that Bridget also had done great sacrifices by finally choosing having a divorce from the old husband, her previous husband, and walking away with 3 kids, and then joining this Macron and finally marrying him. Just what I'm trying to tell you. And she definitely, let's have a very beautiful open gym, So what I'm trying to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, this Bridget has done also a great sacrifice by marrying this person. But then the discussion and the written comments in the various this papers that's coming, that you just see that the lady, she did a great sacrifice. She was also from a rich family of confectioneries and bakeries and chocolates, and she took a very strong decision. But she definitely has taken a right decision, not married a pauper or a useless person. She could know that he is a man of steel and he is a man of conviction. He is a man on the move. He wants to create history in future. There can be a lot of good things in him. So that is exactly this Macron has proved now. That Macron is basically, Macron has proved and he has stood for the French elections. He's a presidential candidate. So ladies and gentlemen, so that this now this what about this Macron? So he is also saying the other day when he was having the final speech, he told that but for Bridget, I could not have been standing at the place that I'm standing now. That is what exactly this Macron also told. So this Macron, whether he has finally proved to be a good person or no, only this time will tell. The voters will decide. The voters will only answer this call whether Macron's unconventional life and love story is getting their thumbs up and is getting their vote, is whether they subscribe to it and whether they that it augurs well for them, and whether you approve, they approve of it. You just see, ladies and gentlemen, what I was trying to tell you, that this Macron thing of this unconventional love story. What is the lessons that our children and our youngsters can draw from it? I feel that there I am all again divided in this thought. But then I feel that my only problem is that this Guru Shishya Parampara, this should not be disturbed. It means there's an age difference of around maybe 1 or 2 years between the teacher and the pupil, then it can go, and it can be okayed, and it may also at certain places, because you don't have the control on heart sometime, so very difficult. So maybe that time you can at least it can be approved in the modern times, in the 21st century. But in India, you just see that if you are trying to just have love affair and get into this love story between the teacher, who is guru, considered to be a guru and supreme hand, and between the pupil, who are having around 20-30 years age difference. So it is very dangerous trend. It's very dangerous trend, and it is distracting. It is malicious. It is malified. It is very bad. It cannot be approved in the Indian continent, in the Indian subcontinent, because you know that we have been, ladies and gentlemen, we have been with certain values in India. Our Shastras, our Veds, our Purans, our Upanishads, and our, for that matter, our all the great books and teachings in India, they have given us a certain thought, certain idea, and certain way of life, where we say that this Guru Shishya Parampara is very important. Guru Shishya Parampara has to continue properly, and there has to be a very divine relationship between the two. So, ladies and gentlemen, what I was trying to tell you, that in India this may have not, in my opinion, the right approval ratings, and this Macron marrying his teacher with 25 years age difference. But let's leave this aside and see how the personality of this Macron, via his unconventional love story, describes his personality, and how he should, if at all he becomes the French president, which of course will be decided by the French people only, how it augurs for the world. You just see that, first of all, I want to say that he has broken the barrier. He has broken the barrier in the sense that, ladies and gentlemen, he usually what's happening, that in the France also, if you just see the few presidents previous, just like Francis Mitterrand, and then you say that Nicolas Sarkozy, and then you see the other person, the present incumbent, President Hollande. So the moment they become presidents, the first thing that they do, they ditch their wives, and then they just marry ladies who are 25, 20 years, 30 years younger. So they say France in laissez-faire means that democracy and freeness at its ultimate zenith, at its ultimate point. But then you just see, after all, this is one-sided and this is exploitation of the women folk. So what he has broken this barrier and created a new situation wherein an old lady 25 years more age, he has married an old lady who is more 25 years than age, means that here the Macron is young and the woman is old, and he is continuing so far since 2006 with this relationship. He is not married again. Let's see in future what happens, but I am of understanding and reading his personality, I'm pretty sure that he will not be marrying again any young girl, even though he has sacrificed for not having children. And I feel that he is a very, very strong personality with firm convictions, with firm thoughts, with very, very strong ideas. So you just see that at 39 years age, ladies and gentlemen, remember that he is the youngest president of France after hundreds of years after Napoleon Bonaparte. So after Napoleon Bonaparte, at 39 years age, Macron will be, if at all he is elected, he will be the youngest president of France. So there are so many good things about him. There are so many good points about Macron, and I feel that if at all he is elected by the French people, who will means, of course he's having a very strong support of the ladies, ladies are very much all the women, all the girls are, because he stood for them. They are of course just supporting him. I feel that his if at all he becomes the president of the France, which is one of the most important, very strong countries, the very strong economy, the second largest economy in Europe, and having a veto power, and the five nation this club, and with full of technology and full of this science and very rich culture and heritage. I feel that the very most important strong point about this Macron that is going is that he wants to help every person. He wants to bring smile to the faces of all the people. So he wants to have an inclusive type of thing. He doesn't want to run away from Europe, and he wants to take the ideas and the guidance from the left and the right also, because he is, remember, a centrist. I feel that he will, if at all he is the president of the France, he will definitely bring smiles not only to the French people but also the world, and also he will do a lot of good things, a lot of good we don't want good things, we want cooperation, we want technology. India wants technology, India wants cooperation for the betterment of the world and for the betterment of humanity. I feel that he is going to be a good president because he believes in inclusiveness, he believes in the mantra of our Prime Minister, that is Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. Cooperation from everybody and development for everybody. Cooperation from everybody and development for everybody. And I feel that I wish him best. That was the concluding part that I wanted to speak about because it was left inconclusive. I couldn't speak. There were some problems with the disruptions with my camera, with my phone. I couldn't conclude this part. So I told you the two dimensions of this Macron. One is that how he is, what is the lessons that India gets, and the Indian, what is the effect on the Indian populace and the children of Macron's love story and his personality. And for France, there's no what type of strong personality Macron is. Thank you very much. Keep smiling. Sabka saath, sabka vikas. Great.